it is easy for us as sinful human beings to want to gloss over our mistakes, to kind of pretend like sin isn't really a big deal. And because of that, it is easy when we look at the commandments, such as the fifth commandment, thou shalt not murder, to say to ourselves, well, I haven't murdered anybody. I haven't even hurt anybody, therefore I have not broken this commandment. But the law does not allow us to excuse ourselves. You see, the law was not designed by God for us to be the judges over whether or not we've broken the law, but rather God himself is the judge. And when it comes to the fifth commandment, it isn't enough to keep that commandment to just not murder somebody. But as Jesus says, even saying an angry word or harboring hard feelings towards somebody in our heart is also breaking of the fifth commandment. This is what Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5, beginning in verse 21. He says, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, you fool, will be liable to the hell of fire. That's pretty steep law. And Jesus was 100% serious when he said that to his disciples. As a matter of fact, this is so important that it's a part of the Sermon on the Mount. This is in Matthew's Gospel. This is the first sermon that Jesus preaches. And he doesn't want us to excuse ourselves when we do wrong. He wants us to realize that even if we think bad thoughts about another human being, we have broken his law and we are liable, as Jesus says, to the fires of hell. Why would a God who loves us make it so hard for us to keep the commandments? Why would he make it so difficult for us if he wants everyone to be in heaven? Well, the reason why is, as we learned a few weeks ago when we were talking about the uses of the law, the second use of the law is to show us our sin. And here are the fifth commandment, thou shalt not murder, because it covers hateful words, hateful speech, because it covers even harboring thoughts, negative thoughts about another person in our hearts, things that no one else may even know, things that we ourselves may not even be aware of. Well, this shows us how hard it is to please God. And it points us again to Jesus as our Savior. And Jesus is the only one that could say that he loved everyone perfectly. Even though Jesus had lots of reasons to be angry because he was mistreated, he was abused, he was persecuted, he was betrayed, he was abandoned even by his closest friends and family members. He may have had right to be angry, but he wasn't. Why? Because he loved those people that had done those things to him, including you and including me. And so when we look at the fifth commandment and we think about how we treat other people, we think about those times that we say things that we probably shouldn't say, when we think those thoughts or harbor those bad thoughts towards others that we really shouldn't even entertain in our minds, at that point we need to turn to God and ask him for forgiveness. We turn to God and we ask him for his mercy and his grace, recognizing that in him we can be restored. And our hearts that are hard towards the people that God places in our lives can be softened. And they can grow warm towards those that we are at odds with. Because that is the Spirit's work in our lives. God doesn't want us to stay at odds with other people. He doesn't want us to continue to hate or despise other people. He wants us to love them and to be loved by them. And that is only possible when we get over our disagreements and we get over our hatred by exercising forgiveness and love and mercy towards each other, even as Christ has shown us love, compassion, and mercy.